things. So for now, I will stop talking. Then I will then hand things over to my colleague. Obviously, she will be touching more on important factor, especially when coming to study with EIT or any other institution. Accreditation, it's very important. And Indu, you can take it away. Thanks.
Thanks, Barry. Hi, everyone. Hope you all can hear me clearly. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. What I'm going to do today is to cover EIT's accreditation and educational offerings. We do have an agenda, but before we go on to the agenda, just a little bit about myself. My name is Indu, and I'm the Deputy Dean at EIT. I'm a chartered professional engineer with over 20 years of experience. I have been both in the electrical engineering field, working in the industry as an engineer, as well as I've worked extensively in the education industry here in Australia, both in vocational education as well as higher education. I am a fellow of Engineers Australia as well as the fellow of Australian Institute of Management, and I've got a passion for education, high quality education, as well as sorry, one second. Barry, can you see the slide I'm sharing? Can you see the presenter slide? Or
I still
anyone?
see the EIT accreditation.
Could you please
Let me
take
see.
control of the slides, Indu?
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
taken control?
I thought I have. Let me see. No.
Perfect. Yeah, I think it should work now.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back here. Yeah.
Perfect.
So as I was saying, thank you. Yeah, so that's just my background. So I've got a passion for education, and I work very closely in terms of the accreditation of new programs, both with the Australian government as well as when it comes to industry bodies like Engineers Australia. I also work on accreditations for our sister companies in the UK and South Africa as well. So kind of understand the nuances between different countries and accreditation requirements. So what are we going to cover today? So the agenda for today, there's quite a few things, but I guess the main point is to kind of establish what is accreditation. If people are not really sure about accreditation, why does it matter? And then also go into obviously what makes EIT unique, accreditation that EIT has for its programs, and then we'll also touch on international recognitions and internationally recognized programs. Last but not least, I would also just wrap it up with the new courses in the pipeline that we've got for 2026. Now, I'm happy to take questions, but if you want to put your questions in the chat box, I will try and answer them towards the end of the session, but feel free to put your questions there. All right, so we'll start with what is accreditation. Now, it's a formal kind of recognition, and it usually with accreditation you do kind of get a letter or a certification mentioning the if there's any conditions with your accreditation or if you have achieved certain quality standards that gets in the accreditation letter. There's different types of accreditation. When I talk about different types, so you've got your let's say, for example, our higher education programs needs accreditation from our tertiary education quality standards authority in Australia called TEXA. So that is one form of accreditation where they try to establish the institute has governance in place in terms of good processes in place. There is academic governance, there is quality systems and monitoring in place. Do we follow the pedagogical model of how we design a course? So there is curriculum, course review, course development policies, and whether we have followed those policies, etc., etc. And then you've got the other type of accreditation, which is the industry body accreditation, like Engineers Australia, where they look for different set of things. For example, they look for things like whether or not our program equips the student. When I say equips the student, it's when the student graduates, whether the program is designed to equip the student or the future graduate with attributes of let's say we're talking about the Washington Accord, attributes of a professional engineer. So what we do is when we start doing the curriculum design, we look at the competencies required under these accreditation standards and ensure that it is weaved into the program so that, it doesn't look like you have to do something completely separate. It's kind of part of the program, and it's a very natural flow. Accreditation very often, when I say very often, it pretty much always involves a rigorous evaluation process. Just end of last year, we had this huge process, general review with all of our accredited programs with Engineers Australia. And that was quite an intensive process involving quite a few hundred people because it involved our current students, graduates, alumni, industry representatives, our lecturers, staff, support staff, and whatnot. So it is a very intensive process. It's time consuming, expensive, but we do it because it gives us a certain value to the program. I'll touch into what that value is. So why does accreditation matter? So like I said, it gives a value. When I talk about value, it's one is in the form of quality. So it confirms that our education provide meets academic and professional standards. It also gives you international recognition. For example, when we go through our industry body accreditation, like our Dublin, Sydney, or Washington Accords, the program is recognized internationally. Now, please note that when I mention internationally, it is under the International Engineering Alliance, and people who have signed up to the Accords, when I say people, the countries who have signed up to the Accords, that's where it's recognized. Okay, so you just have to be careful about if you want to check, you can go and check on the International Engineering Alliance website to see which countries are signatories of these different accords, and you'll be able to tell. That information is also available on our website under the course pages and accreditation page. One other thing, I mean, whether you're studying with EIT or anywhere else, one other thing that students want to do is to make sure that the accreditations are in place because it helps you select trustworthy, high quality programs. By getting accreditation, like I said, it's not an easy process. It's not a cheap process. We invest a lot of time and money to make sure our programs meet these standards so that it's also helpful for our students and graduates, not only to make informed choices, but be able to go out in the workforce with recognized qualification as well. So it assures, employers that graduates have the relevant and validated competencies. They meet certain level of competency levels. So there is a quality and assurance provided there. For us, it also enhances the reputation for us and the competitiveness of the institution as well. So, compared to, let's say, if you, as a prospective student, if I'm looking at two different institutes and say one has all these recognitions and accreditations, and then the other institute does not have, I would definitely be going for someone who's got the accreditation because I know they have gone through this stringent process. They can assure quality. Their students and graduates are happy, so I'll be going there. For us as academics, and for me personally, part of the accreditation team, it helps me to make sure my programs are continuously refined, the curriculum is up to date, and the teaching staff are, well versed with what are the changes that are coming up, and also that we ensure that the appropriate resources and support systems are in place, because all these are part of accreditation requirements. Okay. Now, what makes EIT unique? And we are talking more in terms of the accreditation aspects only in this part. So EIT is a dual sector accreditation, has dual sector accreditation. Now, what that means is we work both in the vocational education and training space, and we have the Australian Skills Quality Authority who regulates us. So we have accreditation with them. And we are also in the higher education space with, like I mentioned before, Tertiary Education Quality Standards Agency, which is TEXA. On top of this, we also have professional accreditation, which I'll come to in more detail in a minute. But what this means is, so both TEXA and ASQA have their own set of standards that we need to follow, and it's Australia-wide. So any university in Australia will have to be abiding by the Texas accreditation standards if they want to be registered as an institute in the higher education space. Similarly, any training providers for the vocational education and training also needs to meet the standards of the Australian Skills Quality Authority to be able to deliver programs there. Part of it We make sure that our programs developed are and reviewed are in collaboration with industry experts and course advisory panels to make sure that, any changes that are upcoming in the industry are being incorporated, as well as any accreditation standards we have to meet are incorporated, and we can make sure our programs are up to date for a graduate. Now, we usually go through a progressive accreditation approach. So what that means is if we've got a new program in place and we want to gain industry body accreditation, we go through a process where we need to get a provisional accreditation stage, because the accreditation body does want to speak to graduates before they will grant full accreditation, and they look for minimum number of graduates as well. So usually we go through a provisional stage. Provisional stage establishes that we've got everything in place. When I say everything, our curriculum meets the standards. We've got enough resources and support systems in place. But all we need to achieve is that stage where we've got enough graduates that they can look at the quality of the work that the graduates produce, usually in the form of the capstone project or the thesis. And then they will make the judgment of whether we can go on to full accreditation. So we are very transparent when we display, oh, this course is going through provisional, or when we achieve the full status, that's also updated in our website. And then currently, we've got quite a few programs, and I'll go in detail, that are recognized, are fully accredited with Engineers Australia, and that is from a Dublin Accord all the way to a Washington Accord. And with Washington Accord, you obviously can work towards your Chartered Professional Engineering status as well. This is just a little bit of information about the EIT's accreditation. So we've been a registered training organization, so that is in the vocational education and training space since 2008. In this, we offer programs in the diploma, advanced diploma, and grad cert levels. And we've also been registered as the Institute of Higher Education since 2014. And in this space, we offer all the way from an undergraduate certificate to the doctorate program. And we also have fee help for students who are in the higher education space. And we also have CRICOS registration. So CRICOS registration is for us to be able to provide education to international students in our on-campus for on-campus courses. And then we also have VET student loan provider accreditation. And with Engineers Australia, currently, we have full accreditation for 5 advanced diplomas in the Dublin Accord, 4 full accreditation for bachelor degree in the Sydney Accord, and 4 full accreditation for master's degree in the Washington Accord. Now, we will go through the list of these programs in which mode and locations these are accredited for, because accreditation also depends on modes of delivery as well as locations of delivery. Now, what I might do is just quickly have a look to see if there's any specific questions. I think it's already been answered. Okay, that's fine. I will keep going. Any burning questions, please do put them on the chat. Now, the value of international recognition. Now, instead of me talking away, what I might do a little bit is ask the participants if you can put in the chat box, why is an internationally recognized program valuable to you personally? So that, rather than me assuming this is why it is valuable for you, if you can tell me why it's valuable for you, I will still go through this, but in a minute. So please use the chat box and tell me why internationally recognized program is valuable for you. The chat box is on the top. You can have a chat function. You can click that and then you can type a message. Anyone? Just wanted you to help put in the chat box. The question is, why is gaining an internationally recognized program is valuable for you? So if you are going through a course, why would you look for an internationally recognized program? How does that add value to you? Thank you, Sasipo. So it allows for employment on a global level. Definitely. Yeah. I can move to other country and work. Yes. Anyone else? Anything else? Yep, it does make you competitive globally. Thank you. I will keep that question running, so people who want to add to that question, please continue so. But I will continue with the presentation. So it does add credibility. So it validates the quality of our programs, making sure that we meet the global standards, because the standards set by things like Engineers Australia is part of the International Engineering Alliance. So the International Engineering Alliance has certain standards for Dublin, Sydney, and Washington Accords. So you can be assured the programs that you're studying and the quality of education you're getting meets those global standards. So it's not Australian standards, it's not standards from any other country, but it's global standards. It opens up pathways to international employment, postgraduate study, as well as professional registration, things like chartership, things like incorporated engineer, those things are opens up to you. You can transfer your qualifications and credentials if you're going to a different country to work. I think that was already mentioned. And also it supports skilled migration as well as global careers. With these accreditation and by being part of this International Engineering Alliance network, you also get access to global community of professional and academics. So for us, it strengthens our reputation, and for you, it empowers you to succeed globally as a graduate. And I can see there's a lot more answers now. So yes, some employers are international based. Yes, absolutely. So they will expect the international overview. It has credibility and trust, definitely grounds for good education. Yep, globally good career, global standards, very good. Thank you. And it also, yep, definitely broadens your experience and expertise in a global landscape as well. No, I mentioned previously that some of our programs have full accreditation with Engineers Australia. Sorry, these are the ones. So these qualifications here, this page only lists the advanced diplomas under the Dublin Accord. So these are only accredited for the online delivery mode. So we don't teach our advanced diplomas on campus in any way, but the online mode, see the advanced diploma of industrial automation, the advanced diploma of applied electrical engineering, civil and structural engineering, mechanical engineering, and applied electrical engineering power industry. All these, and it tells you which entry you need to be. So anyone who studied with us, for example, these two programs from 2013 August entry will get a full accreditation. And similarly for other programs, there is an entry date or year that they give. Now, as an example, this qualification under the mutually recognized agreement between the International Engineering Alliance, it will be recognized straight away under the Dublin Accord in Canada, Ireland, Korea, New Zealand, South Africa, United Kingdom, and United States. Now, again, this list usually keeps changing as well because quite often more countries join the Engineering Alliance under different accords. So they will be, what do you call it? Those lists will be added in there too. And then we've got in the Sydney Accord, our bachelor degree programs. These are the 4 programs that are fully accredited. And as I mentioned, these are the intake years from. Now, this one is accredited both for online delivery and for on-campus delivery in our Perth, Australian campus. And again, similarly, if you notice here, you've got this recognized. And for example, in the previous one, you didn't see China, but in here, you've got the Chinese Taipei, Hong Kong, China, Ireland, so those are other countries that you've got under the Sydney Accord. And then we've got Washington Accord. So Washington Accord is for our bachelor degree programs. And basically, when you complete a Washington Accord program, you can apply for the professional engineering status, or you'll be recognized as a professional engineer. And these are the 4 programs, and these are the years that they're recognized from. And this is accredited for online delivery, as well as on-campus delivery at Perth and Melbourne campuses in Australia. Before I go, let me just check if there's any specific questions. What about courses that are not recognized on any accord? So yes, I can answer that. So courses that are not recognized under any accords, they are still accredited under our Australian government regulations. Okay, so if it's a higher education course, they are still accredited under TEXA. And if it's a vocational education course, it's still accredited under our ASQA. They don't have industry body accreditations. But the one I think when you're talking about accreditations, specific question is about industry body accreditations like your Dublin, Sydney, and Washington Accords. Now, because we accredit the other programs, we do transfer the good practice into all our programs that still don't have the accreditation. Now, the reason we choose some programs for accreditation with the industry body like Engineers Australia and not the others is due to the demand and volume of students that we get. And as I mentioned, these do cost a lot of time, money, and effort to go through the accreditation process, the review, the validations, and whatnot. So one of the reasons we don't accredit every single program we have is, yeah, it's just very expensive, time consuming, and a lot of work. But having said that, when you complete these programs, you can still go and get your qualification recognized. It's a little bit more onerous to go through this process when you don't have that industry body accreditation for the program, but it's not extremely difficult. What you need to do is to complete what they call as a competency demonstration report, which shows you, okay, what have I completed in the course? This is how I meet the competencies from the units I've completed in the course. This is my work experience. And then you meet the competency in that way with the competency demonstration report, and you can still get those qualifications recognized in your from your personal capacity. Okay. I will come to the rest of the courses in a minute, questions in a minute. So in terms of why choose EIT, now, like I said, there's quite a number of courses internationally endorsed. Actually, all of our courses are internationally endorsed with Australian qualification. They are practical, relevant, and driven by industry. Now, all of this, we can validate these by, I think earlier Berry shared the screen of our QUILT results. Now, QUILT results are quality indicator survey from our Australian government. And so it's not conducted by us, and we are not just saying, oh, we just did a survey and we are the best. It's done by Australian government, and it's done among all the engineering universities and colleges in Australia. So when we come top among all universities and colleges, you can understand that we are standing against other universities in Australia who are, very big and has lots of students. Even among all those, we come across as top because we make sure that our products are very high quality. Our instructors are from around the world. So we don't just use instructors from just one part of the world and giving you just, a very narrow focus of your education. We do have industry professionals. So our lecturers are not purely academics. They're not just teachers. They have work experience. They have worked in the industry or currently working in the industry. And they bring you real world experience. They can help you talk about what's happening in the industry, in their offices, and how they solve the problem. And they bring you that real world challenge as well. And like I showed, many of our programs are accredited with Engineers Australia. You have an access to a huge amount of reference and research material. We are actually currently upgrading our e-library to be even more easy for students to access with single sign-on. So, our future students and current students in a few months, they'll be getting access to a really good library system as well. We have very supportive learning environment. We have lots of course advisors, learning support officers, student support services in place to make sure that, students get the best and they do, are successful in the programs that they join. We specialize in engineering. So, we don't divert our attention to other areas of education. We know we do engineering well and we focus on that, which also means that all our effort and investments go into those resources to make sure that you get the best of it. And lifelong learning. We have several pathways for students to go in and out of different courses depending on what they need. As an example, I have a student who had completed their PhD but came back and did an advanced diploma, mainly because their PhD was in a different field. They wanted practical experience. They came and did an advanced diploma. Sometimes our bachelor students, after finishing, they go and do a professional certificate because they want specific skill set. They continue on to masters. go back to doing a graduate certificate, whatever it might be. There are multiple pathways for students to go in and out, do whatever program that they need to, progress in their career at that point in time. But if they wanted to, and I have students who have gone from advanced diploma all the way to a doctor of engineering while doing it part-time, and they've been very successful. So there's a lot of options to study with us. And we are also very diverse, and we are committed to supporting not just women in engineering, but minority. We've got lots of scholarships available that support minority groups as well as women in engineering as well. Now, projected trends for 2025 and actually even part of 2026, industry will continuously seek engineers with practical applied skills. Now, can someone tell me why industry will continue to seek practical applied skills as a key skills that they look for? Anyone? Why does practical skills become very important in today's world? So we've got AI. Yeah, AI is kind of taking over lots of things in very different place. So in the age of AI, what people, when I say people, industry, employers from any industry will look for candidates who can apply skills rather than just talk theoretically, who can do the hands-on side of things, who can think critically. Yeah. And similarly, I think most people are also looking for flexible, high quality online programs, mainly because people want that flexibility. I mean, no longer people can afford to be full-time students. That's a luxury nowadays. So things like, flexible online programs will become mainstream, stackable qualifications, for example, we've got undergraduate certificate, then you can go on to a bachelor, but you can also do like a graduate certificate, graduate diploma, going to a master. So all these stackable qualifications, short courses which lead to a bigger program will become popular. And also, things like virtual labs to support your practical side of things, as well as AI tutors will also become popular in this year and the next year. The other one is using AI-powered learning analytics. It will help personalized education as well as gives you real-time academic intervention, both for yourself as well as for the lecturers. It will help us to kind of put more effort into where we end up kind of having lack of time. We can be able to offer you personalized service. We're already rolling out AI chatbot in some of our courses. We are trialing it. If that works well, then we'll be expanding it to other ones as well. The idea behind it is you have someone 24-hour to be able to help you tackle any issues you got with either understanding a concept or understanding how to do things. And then the other thing is programs will increasingly embed sustainable engineering principles. I mean, most of you would have encountered some sort of a climate change issue in terms of the weather patterns and things where you live. And so sustainable engineering principles will become more and more key in what you're learning, as well as emerging technologies. So emerging technologies, so it could be, for example, how does AI help in, let's say, predictive maintenance, or how does AI can solve with the issues we have with the grid and whatnot. So there's quite a few things that's going on for 2025. Now, from our end, we are very busy working on some new courses. This is on top of the re-accreditation side of things and other accreditation quality assurance work that we do with our current courses. You can also expect to see in 2026 some of these come through in various timings. So we've got an associate degree in electrical engineering coming up, a Bachelor of Science in Mechatronics and Robotics, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Systems Engineering, Master of Engineering in Applied Research, Master of Engineering Executive Management. So these are 5 accredited courses in the higher education that's coming up, as well as quite a lot of prof certs, but these are the ones that I thought was a kind of highlight. So energy transition, robotics, biomedical, smart infrastructure, as well as cybersecurity. So keep an eye out. Now that's all from me. I am happy to take questions. I'll look and see if I can answer a couple of questions, but Barry, over to you.
Thanks very much, Indu. I think there's a question from David. He wants to know the difference between EIT Advanced Diploma and Associate Degree offered by others.
Okay, so I can talk about it from the perspective of Australia, mainly because some other places might have it slightly different. So in Australia, both the advanced diploma and associate degree are at the same AQF level. AQF is Australian Qualification Framework, which means that there is no difference between an advanced diploma and an associate degree. The difference is in the name, and the name is different because it's actually accredited under different authorities. So our advanced diplomas are under the Vocational Education and Training Program, so accredited with ASQA, whereas an associate degree, so I think I just showed you in a couple of slides back, the new course is coming. We've got an associate degree in engineering. It's the same AQF level as an advanced diploma that we run, but associate degree because it's under higher education with the TEXA quality standards and agency. So that's the main difference between associate degree and advanced diploma. It's a name change mainly because of where in the educational realm it sits, whether it's a vocational education or higher education. But in terms of the education level, so if I'm looking at, let's say, a bachelor program, associate degree and advanced diploma are at the same exact level.
Thanks, Indu. Anyone, any question? Maybe if you can just put in the comment section.
That question is a little bit general, I would say, because if you're asking someone why their country's accreditation is better over others, they'll always say their country's accreditation is better. But I would say if you're comparing accreditations, look at people under the same International Engineering Alliance. So like I said earlier before, for example, the Dublin Accord had USA, UK, South Africa, Australia, Canada, all in the same international recognized. So which means all of their qualifications will have that same level of standard in terms of meeting accreditation, conditions. So they will all be very similar. Any other questions?
I see Richard says, I'm level 200 now. Can I use my results to gain admissions or transfer to this noble institution? So, yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
don't quite understand level 200, but what I would suggest is to reach out to one of our course advisors, and they should be able to ask more specific questions and help you. I would always say if you're not sure, I know it takes time, but go through the admissions process, apply for the course you need. And when you do get feedback, whether you're accepted or not, you will get feedback of why you were not accepted. You can then actually talk further, add other, evidences, or work towards how you can join the program.
Thanks, Indu. Yeah, so I just put my email address, Richard. Maybe if you can just send me an email, see how I can assist you. Thanks. And there's another one. What is the criteria for one to stand a chance for scholarship?
Each scholarship differs. There's specific criteria for each scholarship, but I can very honestly say that there are so many scholarships. Sometimes some of them are the criteria are very general in the sense that quite a lot of our students or potential students can qualify for it. So look at the different scholarships available. I'm sure one of them will be suitable for you.
Thanks, Indu. I'm actually sharing a scholarship link, so you can just go and read more and then just look at the criteria there. There's one, he's currently doing advanced diploma in mechanical engineering with us and would like to pursue bachelor's degree, I guess, on campus, could they consider my qualification via RPL with the duration of the course being reduced?
Okay, so that one I'm specifically reading from bachelor degree with honors from other university in Australia. So when you're talking about other university in Australia, we know they will take you in, you will meet the entry requirements, but I won't be able to answer how much RPL you will get and how much duration it will reduce. I suggest you reach out to that particular university and ask that.
Thanks, Indu. There's another one. When you have a Bachelor of Technology in Electrical Engineering, oh, sorry, it's gone. Okay. When you have a bachelor's degree in technology in electrical engineering, what do you have to do to join master in electrical systems? Yeah, I guess like Indu mentioned that you have to just apply. Obviously, it has to go through our admissions committee, and then obviously they will review your qualifications and give you a feedback.
Yeah, thanks, Barry.
I guess this applies to you again, Emmanuel. You need to lodge in an application, and you've got nothing to lose. We don't have any application fee. Just lodge an application with a higher national diploma in building, then our admissions will give you a feedback. Maybe Indy, if you can just take this one. What mechanism are used to evaluate faculty qualification and development program?
Yep. So for faculty, we do require, so that within our policies, we do have the minimum qualification requirements for teaching different courses. So different courses require different qualifications as well as industry experience. And similarly, our supervisors also have different requirements. We usually start with an interview process where they have to give technical presentation on a panel, and then there is a vetting process, couple of interviews before they get recruited as a faculty. And then they have an ongoing induction process. When I say ongoing, it's ongoing because there's so many different aspects of teaching and assessment. So there is a lot of professional development throughout the year. Within 1 year, there's a lot of development programs that are that they have to undertake. So for example, for teaching in the online environment, how do you create rubrics? How do you create assessments to the right AQF level? Teaching in the Australian qualifications context, using AI, and how do you use AI ethically, academic integrity, research ethics. There's quite a few professional development that we give. On top of it, we also give digital literacy side of things. So, how do you use our Moodle learning environment? How do you use Microsoft tools and whatnot? Yeah.
Thanks, Indu. And same applies to you, Kwame. Our applications are assessed on a case by case. So it's just a matter of you apply, and then our admissions will give you a feedback. In fact, what I'll also do is I will just share a link to all our programs. Then you can just have a look and look the entry criteria as to what qualifications are required for you to gain an entry into those programs. One last one, from Yusuf again. Does Unique use any digital tools or platforms to facilitate remote evaluation or data collection?
Not really sure what is unique and what the question exactly is, but if you can clarify perhaps. But in terms of general data evaluation for academic integrity, we use an invigilation tool called IRIS. But we do have various different digital platforms that students will use throughout their course, from our learning management system to our remote and virtual laboratories to our video conferencing platform. But not really. I think that this question specifically, I'll need more information. Thank you.
Thanks, Indu. Just to add, I actually just posted a link so you can read more on our online delivery in terms of like practical learning as well as other like how we do our programs online. And yeah, on that note, I'm just gonna share our details. Should you have any other questions or any comments or any feedback, you can always just send us an email, webinars at eit.edu.au. We would love to hear your feedback, and obviously some of our upcoming webinars, courses, I've also put the link there so you can just read more. So you can see some of the advanced diplomas, graduate certificates, and other professional certificates that are coming. So if you're interested, you can just click on the link and then we'll send you all the information. And I guess on that note, I just want to say thanks to everyone. And again, thanks very much, Indu, for this very important information. And yeah, anyone, should you have any other questions or if you need any assistance, I'll post my email address again. Richard, I did get your email. I'll reply to you. But yeah, the rest, just feel free to send me an email.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks, Barry, Tasipo, Britta. See you all next time.
Thanks, Indu. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Indu.